Hello there, and welcome to Shit Art. I, honest to God, am just realizing now how the title sounds, and I honestly have no idea how to explain my thought process behind this whole thing, but I like the title, so here we are. To be clear, the art I talk about it because I love it, not because I think it's shit. My descriptions or my thoughts are not great. Um, that's why I called it shit art. I felt like it made sense at the time, but now it sounds like I'm insulting the art, and I am literally in no position to be insulting anyone, especially artistically. So, yeah. Please just take it how I mean it. Like, I still like the name. Like, I think it's fun to say, but I don't mean it like that. Please get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, not important. Let's talk about today's topic of conversation. We're going to talk about grief and loss centered around the masterpiece, Death in the Sickroom by Edvard Munch. Let's talk a little bit, let's give a little background on Munch. He was a Norwegian painter, and he made one of the most famous paintings to ever exist, in my opinion. It's a very well known piece of art, The Scream. I actually have a little pin of the painting on my bag. I adore it. It truly is such an iconic image of world art, though. Um, which I also think has a really interesting backstory to it, or at least like a description of it. I'm not gonna go into it, but I feel like look it up. It's really great. Anyways, in the late 20th century, he played a great role in German Expressionism and the art form after that. It was mainly due to the way he displayed mental struggle in his pieces. A few years after he was born, Munch's mother passed away of tuberculosis in 1868, and he was raised by his father. Now, his father suffered from a mental illness, which obviously affected the way Munch was brought up and why his work usually took on such a deeper tone. Many of Munch's works depicted scenes of life and death, love and terror, and feelings of loneliness. Now, I think the way people picked up on these emotions was in the way he painted. Well, that's not obviously it was, but I just mean that he focused his attention on so many different things that like truly cemented what this painting was supposed to be about. The deep lines on people's faces, the way he drew the eyes. It's interesting because his paintings, in my opinion, are always bold and gloomy at the same time because he used these dark and drab colors and always casted like this genuinely dark mood to his paintings that gave you that sense that unsettling, uncomfortable sense. You know what I mean? Like the colors that are highlighted and showcased were always the ones that were supposed to throw this blanket of darkness over the whole thing, and the colors that would have made it so much brighter are always muted, focusing the attention of the viewer where the artist wanted it to be, in the negative, where sometimes things needed to exist. um I said this specifically thinking about like Death in the Sickroom specifically because the bright colors, not the ones you focus on, of course, but they do cast the shadow. The bright colors, they're not bright in the sense that they bring you joy, but they're bright in the sense that they open it. And the colors that were used, I'm gonna go into it a little bit more in detail, but it was just instead of casting this like sunny feel to it, it made it darker and made it more unsettling, more uncomfortable. Like it's just not fitting, and I think that was the whole point of it too. Let's talk specifically about Death in the Sick Room, which is supposed to depict the death of his sister, Sophie, who also died of tuberculosis. This is when Death in the Sick Room came to be. Um, Not when she died, but it's what it was about. We'll go into it a little bit later. So first thing I want to talk about is the disconnect between all the people in this photo painting, who are supposed to be Munch's family, by the way, or at least it's been theorized. I don't know, but you can see the grief in everyone. You know that they're all feeling this pain together, and like you can see it in the way they're standing, like that man that's sitting on the wall, or the look on their faces, like the woman facing us who doesn't seem to be registering anything except her pain that she's feeling. That's the thing with grief. It can be so isolating or it can bring people together. And here we can see that side of it, the side that they all have the shared pain that they're all feeling at the same time. They're feeling all of the same things, but they don't know how to feel them together. They're they have isolated within themselves, but together. You know what I mean? Um, they're in the comfort of each other's spaces, and that has to have some effect, because even if sometimes we can't say it, someone just being there physically can do some good, but they can't connect more than that. Everyone's doing something different, saying or feeling something different. The man in the back, who I'm going to assume is praying, is coping differently than everyone else in this room is, and the disconnect between everyone is so painfully clear. Like, there's no one's even looking at each other. It's everyone is consumed within themselves, and they want to seek comfort. It's just they don't know how. The old man, he's facing the chair, like he's praying towards it, and this chair where Sophie sits almost completely concealed from us. It's the way she's concealed, because I feel like this painting is not supposed to be about her. While it is, yes, about her, in a sense, this painting is supposed to be focusing on the people that live beyond grief, that live beyond death, I guess, when a loved one dies. It's supposed to depict the feelings you get as someone who loved this person. That's why the focus was on her. Or it could have been that, it could be symbolizing of something like that she's slipping away, that she's no longer part of this, and that in itself is a tragedy. Um, I don't know. I just think that was, I don't know. Anyways, so the old man who's, facing this chair, he's standing there praying for her, or praying about her or something. He's turning to the comfort of God rather than the people, his family around him. Um, it's another way people cope. It's a different avenue people take when it comes to grief. A lot of people turn to God, or a lot of people turn away from God. It really is, I guess it's a personal kind of thing. The man with the reddish hair, I don't know if that's what it is, but like, regardless, he's either looking at his father and aunt, who is presumed is standing there with her hand on the chair Sophie sits on, which is the closest anyone in this painting has gotten to a connection. Or actually, now that I mention it, um, like, even though it's like a connection kind of thing, like, there you can't see anybody else doing it. I don't know, like, there is a small, it's like she's trying to reach out, you know what I mean? Anyways, so either he's staring at them or he's staring away blankly. Now, I don't know. I think he's looking at his family. I think he sees it. I've seen a lot of other sources talk that he's staring off into the distance or staring off into the bed. When I saw it, I thought he was looking at his family. I don't know. I think he sees it. Like, well, maybe the others don't quite know how to put it into words. He seems to see it. He seems to be curious about it, like how they all could be so close to each other that in the moment in time they are souls feeling the same things, yet none of them know how to react to each other. It's like they're aliens to each other, and I don't know. I see this like morbid curiosity in him, this avoidant curiosity that's dealing with what is actually happening. I feel like this painting is supposed to depict different ways you deal, and I feel like that's his. It's just avoidant. That dealing with what is actually happening, what he's actually seeing, which are people grieving, is something else, something to distract him from his own feelings of grief. Munch had said that I paint not what I see, but what I saw. And to me, I think he means it as like also what he felt, the energy of what everyone was exuding, and the literal of what he sees, what he thinks of this moment. Because even though this was an event that happened in his adolescence, he depicts everyone in this painting how they were during its creation rather than when it happened. And the colors Munch chose for the room itself have this effect that exudes dread and discomfort. The floorboard's bright contrast to everyone's drab creates this mood that I can't quite describe, if I'm being completely honest, but it feels inappropriate for what's going on in this scene. I don't even know if that's the right word to describe it, but that's the sense I got. Like, it doesn't fit there. And I think that is supposed to be contributing to the painting rather than taking away from it. You know what I mean? Um, the green walls and the singular picture hanging there over everyone have this weird sense of loneliness, the singular shape and the singular frame in this room full of people who don't know how to be with each other. I don't know. I think this painting truly captured a side of grief that we can all see. personally, I really am uncomfortable around death. I don't know like how to act or to feel, and I always find myself feeling like disconnected when it happens, disconnected from everybody. Like I'm not expressing it the way I should be. But grief is not a uniform experience. Like you don't express it in a singular way, you know? And this painting is such a wonderful depiction of that. I don't know. It's showing people in different stages with different expressions who don't know how to connect quite like they need to. It's unsettling and it's truly depressing. But these are aspects of grief: the isolation that you feel, the fear. They're all a part of this experience that so many people have experienced at least once in their life. But no matter how much a person can relate to you, how much they feel what you feel, and see that they feel it too, you can't force a connection where a connection would feel unnatural. That's why there is no comforting of each other in this painting. I feel like it's trying to show this, and maybe that is what's happening here. I don't know. Like there is no natural connection between them. Like they're family, so there's always that bond, but family doesn't immediately equal a strong sense of connection. So this familial disconnect isn't so completely out of the question, and I feel like it adds to it. It adds a different layer, a different nuance to this painting. Okay, I think that's all I have to say for now. Thank you so much for listening, gorgeous. And yeah, peace and love. I'm sorry, I don't know how to end this, but I've said my piece. So yeah, hope y'all have a good whatever time you're listening to this. Okay, I'm gonna go now.